Intro. I don't care.
Go ahead and do the intro.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. I know y'all know who I am. I'm that idiot from over at Written Undead that likes to hang out and do crazy stuff with my boys Richard, Ryan, Rose, Andrew, Ramon, whatever guest we got on that week. Well, today I've decided I want to hang out with a good friend of mine, a buddy of mine, a dude who I have the utmost respect for, one of the great freaking zombie writers out there right now, the one and only Jeff Thompson. Jeff, what is
Howdy,
up?
dude.
Dude, what's up with the t-shirt first off? Because I know you love your aliens. That's Area 51 looking sexy on that big ass. Parody. So,
Well,
dude,
it seems appropriate.
what are you doing right now? What are you working on in the moment?
Well, I just finished a break in between my last book and my next one because I've written four books back to back to back to back,
Uh-huh.
all on the zombies don't surf and that kind of stuff. And I didn't want this is the final book of that chapter. It's called Full Metal Zombie.
I love that
So
title,
yeah,
by
this
the way.
this is the final book of that chapter of the saga. So I wanted to do it right. I didn't want to phone it in. And when you're sitting around a quarter of a million words, it's
That's a big one.
yeah, yeah. So I took a break um, for all of January and part of this month as well. But what I did while I was taking a break was a buttload of research for my next series, which doesn't have any zombies in it, at least not yet. But it's a series of supernatural thrillers that take place during the Second World War in Europe.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's
I
based on
love I,
the
I love it when you authors take fiction and take it back in history. That just fascinates the hell out of me.
well, it's based all of it's based on fact, except for the parts that aren't.
Mm-hmm.
But it's based on the idea that Himmler, even more so than Hitler, was heavily into the occult. And
Ooh.
he sent teams of archaeologists around to find, well, ostensibly he was looking for proof of Aryan superiority in history. But he was also looking for um, artifacts of power, like, for example, the Spear of Destiny, which was the spear supposedly used to pierce the side of Christ on the cross.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
supposedly the Nazis actually had that, but the there's like two or three versions of that spear out there, and all of them have proven to be a fraud. So
Okay, I like the direction you're already going with that though, because like I said again, you got me at history. Anything you can
mhm,
do with history and change it and add to it while
right,
still keeping the reality on top of it. Well, it's like Indiana Jones.
yeah.
They did
Well,
that,
that
you
was
know.
it. There's another character in there, a guy by the name of Otto Rahn, Rahn, who is an actual person who has been called the Nazi Indiana Jones.
Oh no shit. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, I'm down.
yeah. So he's one of the characters in the book, in the books. But the thing about using history, writing something out of history, is you got to get the history right. Because there are
Yes.
people out there who know it, particularly something like the Second World War.
Mm-hmm.
People know what happened during the Second World War. I mean, there aren't very many of the veterans left, but there's plenty of people who knew those veterans and who heard those stories.
Mm-hmm.
So they know the actual history of the Second World War. So my first job is to get that history right. It, fill in all the details that people know, fill those in correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I start making shit up, people will be more willing to take that that um, that suspension of disbelief, that leap of faith.
The what you call it, the artist's liberties at that point. It's like,
Yeah,
I've given you all the reality. Now here's where I have fun.
yeah, exactly. So I've got over 100 pages of handwritten notes
Damn.
that I've taken. Oh yeah, I'm not. This is several books, and there's an overarch. There's a story arc to it, but each book is basically a standalone.
Well, now the reason I actually had that reaction to how many notes you had taken is just off the interview I just did in another group,
Mhm.
where that author said he started taking notes, but they're small. They're just little reminders of things
Mhm.
versus like having whole stuff. But again, his series wasn't history based, so he could pretty much do whatever the hell he wanted. So he just needed to
Yeah,
remember who did he kill, what was their name, and don't mess up their name down the road, and get them renamed something else.
right.
So now, how much time did you spend just doing the research?
Hours and hours and hours. I mean, I spent basically my break I was taking from the zombie books
Yeah,
in that research,
damn. So,
including online courses on both the First World War and the Second World War, because it starts. It actually the first book, about the first half of it, takes place during the First World War.
okay. So now, as you were doing the research on all this, though, did you discover stuff from history, like the real history, that
Yeah.
you just didn't know? And you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
holy shit, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Cool. Good. What's a good example?
Um. um. Oh, gee, I can.
I put you on brain fart mode. Ha ha
Yeah, I
ha.
know it's little stuff because I love history.
Uh huh.
Always have, particularly history of war, battle history,
Hmm.
because that's where the biggest changes have always come. So I did okay. I did find one thing that I found surprising. There is or was um, a quasi religious organization called the what the hell was the name of it?
Gotta go for the notes, man.
Yeah, I know. And they're all
Well,
over
I
the
mean,
place.
honestly, this is one of the things that amazes me about you
Mhm.
authors when I talk to you guys is we read the books or we listen to the books, however it is we consume them, and we just assume that we can come to you and be like, "Hey, question," and you're like, "Oh, you're just going to give us the answer." And it's like, "No, dude, I wrote that shit like 2 years ago." It's like, it's like, hang on, man, I got to think back on
Yeah, I don't want to take time off
that.
the show to look this thing up, but there was this religious organization that essentially um, played in the background to manipulate certain things within, particularly the Catholic Church,
Okay.
way back.
Yeah, phones, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I told Ding Dong that I was doing two shows today, and yet he makes it a point to call right in the midst of one.
Of course.
It's a habit. He does it. I think he does it on
Yeah.
purpose.
You know, there, there was a phenomenon I discovered while I was in the Coast Guard um, that I called the same thing happens every time. It's on the bridge of a ship.
Uh huh.
It's normally pretty quiet because people are on watch. They're watching, make sure they don't hit nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to concentrate on that. You can't
Yeah, there
just
ain't a
be
lot of
crab
chit
ass.
chat and
And
people
it's a
yakking amongst
little
each other.
there's a little bit of that, but it's basically quiet, except during certain evolutions. Any kind of emergency, any kind of major operation, the
Mm-hmm.
bridge gets busy because all the officers head up there, the captain heads up there. That becomes the central nervous system of the ship. And usually it's done, there's an alarm that goes off that sends everybody moving to go where they're supposed to go.
Yeah.
And invariably, I would hit the alarm or make an announcement that a certain evolution was about to start, which means the bridge is going to be chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And it never failed. Some worthless POS who had nothing to do with the evolution at hand would call up to the bridge and ask me to do something that had nothing to do with what was going on. It never failed.
That's got to be a human condition kind of a thing because even at work, just in a warehouse, we get those idiotic situations where it's
Oh
like we're
yeah,
in the middle of a thing that we got going on. We got this truck, that truck got to be unloaded. That one's got to be put up. That hey, has anybody checked to refill the aspirin thing in the medicine cabinet?
yeah, yeah.
Like, what
That's
the hell?
there are essentially, from my experience, two types of people. One is operational, the other is administrative.
Uh,
And well, I mean, they're
I say
both necessary.
they're
They're
sometimes
both
necessary
necessary.
evils, but they
Yeah,
are both
they're
necessary.
both necessary. The operational side of the house can't do what it does unless the administrative side of the house gets them the stuff they need.
Hmm.
You have to have one. You can't have one without the other.
Right.
Okay, but there's a mindset to each. The administrative side of the house, they do things at their own pace. It'll get done eventually. The operational side of the house, and it's the same thing in a warehouse as it is on a ship in the military. It's the same thing. The operational side of the house, the mindset behind that is this needs to get done now. And
Yeah,
we're going to
that's
get
because
this done now.
yeah, in my work, I'm on the operational side. I'm a forklift operator, unload, load, go pull the stuff,
Yeah,
go, 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 go.
you're where the rubber meets the road.
Hmm.
And that's the way that's it's always been that way. And I mean, you look through history again. Take a look at the Civil War, for example. Lincoln, it wasn't so much that Robert E. Lee was such a great general, but I mean, he was, but it wasn't so much that he was so good as the Union generals that Lincoln had to deal with were so shitty. And the biggest dichotomy between the two was McClellan and Grant. McClellan was a great organizer. He was, I mean, supreme at it. He could organize things to the minutest detail, but he could never figure out when to fight. Grant didn't give a rat's ass about organization,
Fight.
but he would fight. And we saw McClellan lost, Grant won.
One. Yep.
Yeah. So that's
So, so how often do you find yourself incorporating actual history into how you write?
um. Well, I mean, it's not so much in the zombie books because I mean it's present day, quote unquote.
Well, I mean,
And
even like tactics and strategies and how your guys go into their formations.
well,
How?
the details, I get the details right, or as
Hmm.
right as I can. That's
Okay.
yeah. I mean, well, for example, the zombies. Take those for example. I
Hmm.
There's always been the debate between fast zombies and slow zombies.
I prefer slow only because I can't run that fast anymore. But as far as excitement value, as far as making a book or an audio
Hmm.
book, just oh my god, yeah, the running leap, well, like Zombie Road by David Simpson is a good example.
Yeah,
His are part of a super soldier serum gone bad kind of a situation. So his can freaking bound at you and then leap, and it's like you're not supposed to be able to do that with your guts hanging out. And
yeah,
yet here they are coming at you
right.
like that. So as you were making your
Well, I'm
zombies,
my zombies. In the first place, they're not dead. It's a virus-based zombie thing
Mm-hmm.
that's just completely insane. It's a virus that cooks the forebrain, which is where all your higher order thinking happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like gives a massive injection of adrenaline and methamphetamine to the lizard brain, which is where all the rage and the, animal instinct and that kind of shit comes from. So the reason I did that is that human anatomy is human anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
If your guts are hanging out, or if your leg's been blown off, or if you've been bleeding for the last 3 hours, you're dead. You're dead.
Guaranteed.
You're not moving.
Hell, I'm probably one of the few people you can actually say in real life that's ever actually saw their intestines, because that did happen to me, and I
Yeah.
lived I lived through it. Now, granted, they only came about an inch or two out of my body, but that's
Mm.
far enough.
Hmm.
So I'm good.
Yeah,
So
and you weren't able to do anything with your guts hanging out.
no, stand in front of the mirror and look at myself and go, I'm probably about to die today.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the first thing. Is realistically, dead zombies couldn't exist. Live insane ones could, dead ones couldn't, because human anatomy is still human anatomy.
Yep.
You
So
know,
things still have to function within your
yeah. I mean,
zombie. They have to still have
you
blood
shoot them
flowing.
center mass, they die because you just blew their chest out.
So see, now that's something again. I've been dealing with this whole zombie world. The wall
Mm-hmm.
behind me confirms this, to
Yeah.
where pretty much everything is shot to the head. Decapitate. It's all
There's
about this part. It's never about this, unless you're like take a leg off so
mm,
they can't walk anymore. Now they can crawl, but they still keep going.
yeah, but the problem with that is that even the professionals, the members of the military, the law enforcement, people who are trained and who practice using firearms, it's the standard double tap, one in the chest, one in the head,
Hmm.
boom, boom. Natural progression. The
Yeah,
gun hit,
ride the shot
you
up.
ride it up, boom. Those are professionals, and even they can't always get the headshot. So you got these people who supposedly aren't professionals, and they're hitting them in the forehead every time. It's bullshit. No bullshit.
See, that's why
It
when it
happens.
comes to that part of things, if I'm reading a book, I do appreciate the ones more that take a chapter here and a chapter there to show where they're training, like the civilians, the ones that don't know shit, that were terrified masses, and they start training them on how to shoot. And they're still never perfect, but just like anybody, if you take me out on a range and you teach me how to shoot, I'm eventually going to get okay at it.
At a
And
target.
but it's the ones that just kind of go, hey, yeah, here's a gun, figure it out, and
Mhm.
bang, bang, suddenly they're making headshots. It's like,
You'll be fine. You'll be fine at a paper target.
yeah,
Paper target isn't going to run at you trying to kill you.
exactly. Yeah, moving target. Anytime you
Right.
got to deal with a moving target, not good.
Exactly. Not good.
So
So,
when you first started coming up with these zombies, though,
mm,
where did that come from, man? I mean, the idea that I'm going to go off the grid, I'm going to be like, nope, my zombies are not going to be headshots. They're going to be full on. Let's kill them. We're going real human anatomy. When did that happen? Did you have like a moment sitting at a restaurant just eating and going, hey, how'd that happen?
um, it was just an evolution. I mean, the thing about writing fiction, particularly horror or sci-fi, or these um,
Well, hell, the new thing,
and
splatterpunk.
yes, but yeah, whatever it is, the reader still has to suspend their disbelief.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way it works, is if they suspend their disbelief. If you fill them full of details they know aren't right, they're not going to go with you when you start making shit up.
Well, yeah.
They're just not. So I wanted to start from a place of reality. For example, the slow versus fast zombies. when you start messing with the brain, you're not just messing with thinking. You're messing with equilibrium,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Have you ever seen a drunk try to run?
Uh,
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't work very well.
mm-mm. Now
Now,
somebody's winding up over a flower pot somewhere.
yeah, I mean the zombies in my books are capable of running. They're just not very good at it. That's their equilibrium's all off. Their brains are screwed. So, again, it's based in what as much reality as you can get from a zombie apocalypse.
Okay, so now you've just had a release here recently, right?
Yeah,
So, first off, how's that working out? Is that thing getting sold, getting out there, people grabbing that
yep,
thing?
yep. It's getting out there,
Sweet. So,
getting out there.
has that given you some momentum going forward, getting into the next one? Are you feeling the flow right now?
Well, what I had to do, um, again, because this is the last book in this chapter of the saga.
Yeah.
The first four were what they were. They were like the first chapter of the saga. Then this is the second. These next five are the second chapter of the saga. Now, whether it goes on to a third one or not, I don't know. But I mean, I know there's one more book after this one,
Uh
after
huh.
Full Metal Zombie. There is. I'm doing another book called Gods and Zombies that details the origin of the virus.
Oh yes, that's something fans are going to want.
Yeah,
As one of them type people, I love origin stories. I
yeah.
absolutely love origin stories.
So once that is done, there'll be 10 books. Do I really want to go beyond 10 books? I don't know.
I Tufo went 16 with Zombie Fallout, so I mean, you
Yeah, but
could.
Tufo's a madman.
He is that. He definitely is that.
And there are plenty of series out there that go, on for. I mean, look at the, like the old Doc Savage books. You remember him, Doc
Yep.
Savage?
Yep. Yep.
Or, what was that? Clive Cussler's character, Dirk Pitt. There were like dozens of those books.
You know
So
what?
some people do it, but
Well, now one thing I've discovered as I've been on this journey, this massive, well, shit, wrong hand, that journey over there is all the main characters that I've got to meet. And I've got to meet some of the greats. Give everybody a little background about your main character.
well, there's actually a shitload of characters
Well,
in
there's
these
shut
books.
up, but go
the
ahead and pick us out. Cherry pick us out
the
a few.
the main one is a guy by the name of Socrates Jones,
Nice name,
who
by the way.
I've always liked that name. Who um, went through a certain degree of specialized LE training, and this actually exists. The
Hmm.
training takes place at Camp Lejeune, so it's with the Marine Corps. So these are coast. He's training with the Marine Corps.
Yeah, and I ain't gonna lie, just full disclosure for everybody watching right now. I am a Marine Corps fanatic, even though I never served. My mom
Mhm.
would have shot me in the foot if I'd ever tried. But of all the corps, I'm sorry, if you're the first motherfucker to hit the beach, yeah, you're my guys. Then everybody else, I love y'all too. Kind of a
Mhm.
thing, you know what I mean? Love it. Marines are the baddest son bitches on the planet, even if they're not as trained as well as the special forces. But they're still crazy as hell and need
Uh,
crayons.
yeah, yeah, and that's what I liked. That's why I have Marines in the saga because of all the services, and this takes some wrapping your head around. But of all the services, the Coast Guard is most like the Marine Corps in that both of them, both services go where no one in their right mind has any business going. And they
Yep.
do some seriously crazy shit. Now, granted, the Coast Guard generally doesn't get shot at while they're doing it. That doesn't make what they do any less insane.
Dude, I'm terrified of the water. I wouldn't want to have to be out there dealing with choppy freaking waves and high winds and rain pouring in all while I'm trying to put some little person way down here in a basket and get their ass out of a fucking boat because they were too stupid not to stay on shore.
Oh yes, oh yes. That was from my experience, which is fairly extensive. Um, the vast majority of search and rescue cases out there are responding to stupid people. People
And there,
doing something they had no business doing.
and there's plenty of them out there, which
Mm.
keeps the Coast Guard in business, I guess, in a weird sort of way. But
My personal favorite there. I was stationed way up in Northern California, which we're talking Eureka, which is maybe 70 miles from the Oregon state
I was
line.
gonna say, yeah, you up there, like
It's up there. Um, and the coastline is just dry, it's gorgeous, but it's all rocks and it's rugged beauty. And every summer we would get people who would go out onto those rocks and go, "Oh, look at the pretty waves."
uh huh.
As a million gallons of water drops on their head. We
They
got
felt
those cases all the time, but it's the most idiotic thing in the damn world.
okay. What's the craziest place you've ever had to pluck somebody off of?
Uh, um,
Oh, he's laughing. I already know this is gonna be good. All right, I'm gonna sit back for this one. Hang on, let me get comfy. Hold up. Shine the Metallica shirt. Here we go. Let's go.
1995, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it was 1995. Uh, the Humboldt County area, the whole section of Northern California, experienced the worst single day of flooding in 30 years. It was horrible. I mean,
Damn.
everything was flooded, and they called the National Guard in, and we spent more time rescuing the National Guard than we did civilians.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and the best one was a Humvee that became a boat because they went someplace they shouldn't have gone, and it started floating. And it would have floated out to sea if it hadn't gotten caught up on a barbed wire fence.
Oh shit. Damn. I said, ladies and gentlemen, they said, when I get the chance to do any interviews like this, when I say you're going to learn stuff you probably never thought could even be a thing, this is what I mean. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Holy crap. So they literally got snagged and were just stuck there, just getting rocketed and buffeted and hanging out and just stuck.
Mhm.
Holy shit, man. So what technique did y'all use to get them out of there? Was it just a simple
Uh,
basket drop or what y'all do?
I forget if I think we did a hoist for them. I think we used a helicopter to get them out of there. It was yeah, yeah. I don't think if I don't
I said
I,
I couldn't
I
see
don't
any
believe
boats
we rigged
going
a
out
boat.
there.
Well, we've done stupider shit, but
Ah, have you ever been involved? Have you ever been involved in some of that stupider shit?
I've been involved on the command and control side rather than actually out there doing it. I would tell
Okay.
them where to go. I planned the searches and coordinated all the assets and just go here, do this.
Yeah. And don't do something stupid. Just be careful.
Well, I couldn't actually do that because I was enlisted, and technically enlisted people aren't supposed to tell officers what to do.
Ah,
But the two search and rescue groups that I worked at were both air stations, which means when the shit hits the fan, the officers leave. They hop in their helicopters and they go.
Yeah, out. Peace.
Yeah, peace out.
Hmm.
So that leaves your poor enlisted pukes to run the show, which of course we're not supposed to do. And we're essentially, my job was essentially telling officers what to do. I had to, most of the time, I had to phrase it as a recommendation. But I mean, they essentially had to follow my recommendation. So,
Here we go. Jeff just said, let's go out here and wrangle us a damn freaking Minotaur. Let's go.
never had that one.
Of course, at the same time, now as you've been writing your books out, obviously, because you've got all these old stories in your head, you've got your own personal life experiences, but like you said earlier, none of them involve zombies, none of them involved undead of any kind. So, when was it you were like, yeah, I can make these two things blend? How did that? When did you
Well,
make that moment?
it having being a fan of zombie fiction. Um, if you look at the military oriented zombie
Mm-hmm.
fiction, because that's kind of like a sub genre
Mm-hmm.
of it's always the Marines or special forces or SEALs or it's all these uber Rambos
Mm-hmm.
that are doing this. And if the Coast Guard is mentioned at all, it's either as an afterthought or as the butt of a joke.
True enough. True enough. You're not wrong about that. You are not wrong about
But
that.
but having spent 14 years in the Coast Guard, I know these people. I know what they're like. I know what they do, which most people don't. Most people would. I mean, they might know the name Coast Guard, but that's about as far as it goes.
Well, I mean, for a lot of people, hell, like me, you see the commercial every now and then on TV, advertising for, hey, come join the Coast Guard, come join the National Guard, and you're just like, yeah, those are the weekend warriors. What the hell do they know? They don't know anything.
Yeah.
But the reality is, they know a hell of a lot more than you
Mhm.
know that they know, because they're still out there getting dirty, just like the rest of everybody.
Well, okay. Let's Katrina, for example. First couple of days of Katrina, exactly one governmental entity actually did their job. That was Coast Guard. That's
I
because
remember those videos.
it's what they do. That is what they do. Nobody else was doing it.
Nope.
You get a hurricane. People in the Coast Guard will intentionally go out into the hurricane.
Yep.
That's not a rational act.
No, it's not.
There are there are motor surf boats that are designed for use in heavy surf. They're designed to capsize and then flip back over again.
Damn. All you
Yeah,
gotta do is hang on.
pretty much. All you got to do is hang on and hope it actually works like it's supposed to, um, which it almost always does.
Right.
But they actually go out and do this as training on purpose. They'll
Damn.
go out
They literally go
and
out and
yeah,
flip the damn boat. Okay.
on
Well,
purpose.
I guess you should know what it feels like.
Well, I never did that. No, thank you. But
Ah, ah, ha,
the
ha.
big boats were enough, man. I brought.
Some reason I see you being the guy that pops up like a bobber, kind of floating around, and all of a sudden you start getting jerked. Like, oh, he's got one. Really, man?
Yeah, read them in. Ah, Jeremeister. That's one of my boys.
Hey, what's he got? Oh, I'm
Jer-
hearing ding ding over here. What's that?
yeah,
Yeah, nope.
Jeremeister. Show it. There you go.
Coast Guard. Hey, Jeff.
Jeremeister. He's actually one of the characters in the books.
Oh, for real? Well, what's
Yeah.
up, Jerry Meister? Dude, glad you
Um.
actually made it into his Slaughterfest.
There you go. We've many a drunken evening with that young man.
That would have been a fun time.
Yeah,
I'd have probably been the guy passed out in the corner where y'all didn't drawn on my face and lipstick by the time that day was over with.
there were some of that too. But well, I mean, just about a year ago now, maybe 2 years ago now, the Coast Guard had a guy who hopped onto the back of a drug smuggling mini sub and knocked.
What?
There's a video. You can look it up. I
Like,
swear.
hey, we're
Yeah,
here.
he
Come
hopped
on.
onto the back of this mini sub and boom boom boom. Again,
Damn.
not an irrational act, but knowing these guys and knowing the kind of people who are in the Coast Guard, in the event of an actual zombie apocalypse, they're the ones I would want watching my back. So I just decided to take the people that I knew and the people I'd served with and throw them into this situation.
Which is
And
brilliant, by the way. I mean, because it's like, again, like I said, it's something I always told: write what you know,
yeah,
and that's what you've done with your series. And holy shit, man, you you've nailed it. And so, I mean, I'm thinking about some of the characters back now, where I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't realize that was a real person. Like, well, Jared right here, I didn't
yeah,
realize was a real person, but holy crap,
yeah. A lot about 2/3 of the characters are real. They're people I knew.
well, holy shit,
Um, the people I was going to make be dicks. I changed their names.
that's a good old school trick
I
right
changed
there. I
their
like
names.
that one.
But the characters that I knew were going to be, just like the guys I knew. I used their names, like Jerry,
Yeah.
and I turned Jerry into a chain gun operating madman.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah! Well, you know what a chain
Mowing
gun
them
is?
down.
It's a Bushmaster,
Yeah, yeah, and it's just steady
25
feeding.
millimeter Bushmaster. Yeah, that's a badass gun, and they
Fucking
have them
brass
on
firing out every side.
they have them on the patrol boats. They even have them on some of the buoy tenders.
Now, were you ever on a boat, or at least near a boat, saw a boat, heard of a boat that had a chain gun on it?
I was never no. I saw the phalanx fired once. The
Oh,
three seventy eights used to have those.
was
The
that
yeah,
not sweet?
yeah, the R2D2 looking things.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh hell. See, this is where I
That's
get jealous that I never actually got to serve. At the same time, I do remind myself of the stories you guys have told me about being in the service and going, yeah, I wouldn't have liked none of that part
mm.
of it. But hey, getting to play with the toys would have been great.
Oh, even the old school stuff like a 50 cal machine gun.
Oh hell.
Those things you can feel those things in your feet.
Mm.
We would do gunnery exercises. The 50 cal would be up on the bow, and I'd be on the bridge, which is halfway down the length of the ship,
Yeah.
and above, several feet above, and I could feel that thing firing through my
Holy
toes.
shit.
That's
Just
a badass gun.
and knowing there's nothing but destruction on the other end. And that's not even a missile. That's a
No,
bullet, technically. That's a bullet.
yeah,
Holy shit. I mean, damn. Oh my God.
but
Now,
yeah, I mean, the idea was to take um, people in the Coast Guard who, of all the services, and this is why I think they get the shitty reputation they get. Is of all the services, they're most like being a civilian
mhm,
because, and there's one simple reason. The thing I always loved about being in the guard was that most of the time, um, the military bullshit that goes along with being in the military,
mhm.
we didn't really have to deal with it because we were too damn busy. It was those down times when you'd start, doing okay. Well, let's do a full dress inspection. Like you Yeah. And all of a sudden, the officers would have to figure out what to do to fill their day, so they'd start, making shit up for us to do. But when we were out there doing the job, which was most of the time, it was
Uh-huh.
a job. So,
Yeah.
so to have a military unit that was basically just organized civilians dealing with this zombie apocalypse taking over Hawaii, I thought that would be a cool idea, a cool way to look at it. So, yeah, they're in the military. Yeah, they've got some specialized training. But Jones was the only character who had any kind of special ops training. None of the other people did.
Yeah.
So, subsequently, he was always busy, like to the point of exhaustion.
So now, did you ever think at any point though that maybe that character should have been teaching some of the other characters how to do what he does, just to kind of
That's
have a
what
backup?
that's what the second chapter of the saga is. It takes
Ah,
it takes the first recruits through boot camp. And it's 5 books because boot camp is essentially, when I went through boot camp, it was like 9.5 weeks. You had 9 weeks of boot camp plus a week of what was called, like half a week of what was called forming company. So when you're getting together
and creating the teams.
and getting the shit scared out of you and realizing you ain't at
Mm-hmm.
home anymore, baby.
And that's how they make you guys become so bonded, is they make you want to hate the leadership so bad that you
Well,
all care about each other.
it isn't so much that. It's the idea behind it. Boot camp is a gigantic mind fuck.
Mm.
Excuse my English,
Oh yeah, fuck that.
but yeah, but the idea is to tear down all your individualist bullshit, and
Hmm.
everybody has it.
Oh yes, yes we do.
And there are no more self-absorbed human beings than teenagers. They're completely individual bullshit. So the idea behind boot camp is you strip that away, while at the same time building the people back up as part of a team. So that by the time you get to the end of it, that team is the most important thing in your life. And then you get sent out into the units and, here, deal with it. Have fun.
Figure it out. Make a new team. Do something. Have fun.
That's it. That's it. Well, I mean, the Coast Guard is like, you look at the Navy. The Navy goes out there in flotillas and carrier groups and, entire convoys of ships. Coast Guard go out, it's them alone. You're on your own. So you absolutely have to rely on the people on your ship or at your unit and your small boat. You absolutely have to rely on every person there.
So at that point, personal grievances, I don't like you because you like heavy metal. I don't like you because you
Yeah.
listen to rap. All that shit goes out the window. It's like,
Mhm.
no, at this point, we're all wearing the same uniform. I don't care. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, there were people that I didn't particularly like. Jerry isn't one of them.
Obviously, he commented. So,
Yeah, he, uh, I won't go there. But
nah, maybe that'll be an off-screen
yeah,
context. I think.
but uh, uh, I didn't like all of them. But if somebody started going after them, it wouldn't matter. I
Yeah,
wouldn't hesitate. Oh yeah, yeah. You want to fuck with one of our crew now?
it's no different than like real life brothers and sisters. It's like, look, I can cuss
Yeah,
my sister all day, but the moment you say something,
mm,
oh,
yeah.
that's your
It's
ass.
like
You're
wrong
done.
answer. Exactly. And
Hell to the yeah.
that's what it is. These you. It's I don't think it's anything you can. you can fully understand unless you've been through it.
Well,
It's
that's the one thing with me doing the podcast and
mm,
the group that I do it in is I meet a lot of former military guys, and most of them are all well, hell, all of them are all either Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines.
mm,
And you're my only Coast Guard connection. You're my guy there, and it's easy. And I get it from them even that we forget that the Coast Guard, the National Guard, they put their lives on the line just in a different way because they get called for different situations. They get
different
called
thing.
out for different things, but your life is still on the line. It doesn't matter that you're not getting
Yeah,
shot at by terrorists. It doesn't matter that you're not fighting a war. You're still going out there and risking your chances of being drowned,
yeah,
eaten by a shark, getting blown up on a plane that wasn't really equipped to be out there in flight. I mean, you guys put yourselves on the line just as much as everybody else does.
mm,
And first off, I hadn't said it today, but thank you for your service to our country.
you're
I
welcome.
appreciate the hell out of that.
You're welcome.
So now, Jeff, going forward, do you have any other ideas, some things you want to work on outside of your zombie books?
Oh yeah. Well, there's the World War II series.
Yep, yep. So now, as you're writing that series, though, what is your ultimate goal with that? Do you want it to be a short series, a long series, or are you just kind of playing it by ear right now?
Well, it starts the the linear story, the story that that follows the story arc begins in 1938
Hmm.
with Crystal Night, the Night of Broken Glass, when the Nazis um, essentially, they're shattering windows, they were looting Jewish-owned businesses, they were beating up random Jewish people just for the fun of it. They were burning synagogues. They did this over about a day and a half.
Evil bastards.
Yeah, all over Germany. They did this, and that was um, the first really overt act of the Holocaust, in my opinion. I mean, others may differ on that, but I mean, you had anti-Jewish laws that were put in place, and it was forbidden to even have sex with a Jew. You couldn't do it. You absolutely couldn't procreate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not good. No, no.
no, no. But it was Kristallnacht was the first really overt nationwide. It was in November. I think it was November of 1938, and the war started 6 8 months later, maybe a little longer. But the war started in 1939 when they invaded Poland.
So, what got you hooked on history? Because I mean, that's obvious a big thing with you. The whole, well, hell, history in general just got you. What was the moment as that little kid Jeff running around in his underoos, having a good time, and bam, suddenly history is my thing. When did that happen?
Well, it certainly had nothing to do with being in school because the history you get taught in high school and grade school,
Garbage.
well, it's whitewashed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, consider this: you spend what is it, 12, 13 years in primary and secondary school until you're a senior and you graduate.
Yeah. We learned to finger paint and then eventually learned to do tic tac
Yeah,
toe. And
and
yeah.
during all those times, you take a lot of history classes:
Hmm.
American history, world history, etc., etc.
For us, we had Tennessee history too.
Yeah, we had Illinois history, same thing. um, have you ever wondered why, when you go to college, you have to take history class? You just had a dozen years of history classes.
True enough. Maybe it's because they figure we didn't get it the first time.
Yeah, because what they're teaching is shit. It's horseshit.
They're trying to pound in the rest of
So
it.
the real history, even the founding fathers, um, you have somebody like Thomas Jefferson who wrote the Declaration of Independence, who worked on the Constitution, who um, was a brilliant man
Mm-hmm.
and did more to form this nation than almost anybody. Yet he owned slaves. That stuff, the warts,
Yeah,
are to me what makes history interesting.
because we've got them all throughout it.
All throughout
Tons of
George
them.
Washington.
Yeah.
George Washington had a whole plantation full of slaves.
Yes, he did. And he actually chopped down an apple tree, apparently.
Cherry tree, I believe it was.
Cherry tree. That's what
At
it was,
least that's
cherry
what they
tree.
say is cherry tree.
Yes. So
But,
as you continue to write and going forward,
mhm.
do you have any interesting ideas of some totally non-zombie sub-genre, absolutely unexpected stories that you'd like to write?
um, well, all right. Now, do you have a laptop?
I do. It's an old one. It's like
Okay.
2003 model.
Now you know how you can put files up on the desktop.
Uh-huh.
How many do you have on yours?
None. None. I don't even use it. In fact, it's actually the stand that my tablet's sitting on right now.
Mm.
It's
Half
that old.
half of my screen is covered with files, and a
Damn.
lot of those are consolidated because I could, if I spread out all the different files I have, it would fill like three laptop screens, three desktops,
Holy shit.
and those are all ideas. And most of those are ideas for books or stories or it's
Now, have you
all.
thought about doing some Roman history type stuff? Is that amongst them files?
um
And I asked that for Angel because
yeah, of
everybody
course.
loves Angel. Everybody loves Angel.
Yeah, yeah. I'm kind of surprised he isn't here.
Yeah,
Um,
he's got to do stuff for moms and dads. Got to take care of them.
um, not Roman, although there are aspects of the World War II story that take place. The Knights Templar
Okay, yep, I know them
are
boys.
involved. Um, it goes all the way back. Well, I don't. How much do I want to tell without giving it all away?
Yeah, don't give any spoilers. Be careful. Watch your step.
Um, okay, the origin of the Holy Grail, what is considered the Holy Grail,
Besides
in
the
my
Monty Python version.
yeah, in my books, traces all the way back to Moses.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's you've got the Roman occupation of Jerusalem, of course, to
yep,
deal
yep.
with. So there's some of that, but most of it is the Knights Templar and then the Crusades, and the second book in the series. It has the working title right now, Priests of the Iron Cross, and it's based on a sort of deal with the devil the Catholic Church made with Nazi Germany. It's true. It actually happened.
Oh, hell.
The
Okay.
Pope, actually two popes, essentially handed it to him on a silver platter. Yeah,
Damn, I was going to go with the terrible ass joke about two popes walk into a bar, but in this case, I guess the two popes walk into the Nazi sanctuary.
kind of. Yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
Dude, that's why I love talking to you
There were
guys.
one of those popes actually had an iron cross. Yeah,
Oh, shit.
actually had an iron cross. He'd been
Hey,
awarded the iron cross.
like, this is probably extra information that the rest of the world don't really need to know, but I'll throw it out there anyway. This is why I'm not really a religious guy, because when you look at all the blending and the conflicts and everything amongst all the religions,
Mhm.
who the hell's right? Nobody knows.
Well, yeah,
I ain't gonna waste my time with it. I ain't figured it out. I'll just enjoy it
uh,
all as fiction.
yeah. I've taken some shit um, because there's a lot of anti-religious stuff in the zombie books,
There are.
particularly in the last couple, um, because they're dealing with religious nut jobs. But all of that is based on fact. All of that is based on actual people.
That
One of
did actually fucked up things.
one of the characters is based on, you know who Marjo Gortner is?
No, actually, I
He
don't.
was in. Have you seen the movie Earthquake?
Yes.
The original one with Charlton Heston.
Yep. 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 Way back
Okay,
in the day.
the guy with the curly hair who is in the National Guard and goes power mad and starts
Yeah.
shooting looters.
Yes.
That's Marjo Gortner. Marjo Gortner started his life on the um, tent revival circuit as evangelical preacher. He started preaching at the age of 5.
Oh shit! How the hell you gonna trust a 5-year-old to tell anything?
Who knows?
Besides, I
But people
pooped my
do.
pants.
But people do. He was performing weddings at the age of 5. And one of the characters in the last couple of books started at the age of 10, but it's the same story,
It's
the
still, it's a
same exact
kid.
story.
Yeah, it's
He
still.
started as a kid,
Holy
and
shit!
it's there's a documentary about Marjo Gortner called Marjo.
I may be
Um,
looking that one up.
I think it's on Amazon. I believe it's on Amazon.
I've got my Amazon, even though yeah they're going up in price. Those bastards.
So's Netflix. They're all
Yep.
going up in price.
Yeah, they're blaming Biden.
Yeah, but funny how the price never goes down.
No, it never goes down. Well,
It's the same thing with oil, with gas prices.
well, I have actually seen cases where the price will go up, and then they'll say, "Hey, we went down in price," but all they did was go back down to the original price we just dealt with,
Yeah.
and then go up from there again. So
Well, the
it's
only
like,
reason that gas prices went so low during the pandemic because nobody was driving, so
nope,
nobody was using gasoline.
nope.
That's why the price was so low.
Yeah, and it goes back to reading, ladies and gentlemen. Always read, because in this case, you got to read between the lines.
Mhm.
The hidden story is between the two big stories on the top and the bottom. Read between them.
Well, that's
This,
also why history is so important.
yep, because you're doomed to repeat it otherwise.
History absolutely repeats itself. It always has.
Hmm.
Everything that we see now has happened before.
Well, actually, there's one part that we haven't managed to replicate yet,
Hmm.
even though we're doing it in movies. Dinosaurs. Where the hell are my damn dinosaurs at?
Yeah, well, you can't stop evolution. But
All right, so
anyway,
now when you're getting
mhm.
your covers done, who does your covers for you?
um, the last few were done by D. Cooper.
She's a badass.
Yeah, the zombies don't surf from zombies don't surf on were by D. Cooper.
Oh, and by the way, just to tell her, I would have liked to seen a couple extra starfish maybe floating around in that. By the way, just throwing it in there, maybe a perch flying by or something. You know.
Zombie starfish, of course.
Yeah, well, of course, got to be a zombie starfish. Maybe gnawing on the
Naturally,
guy's leg or something. He's crawling
something
in there.
exactly.
But your covers. Where does your inspiration come from for what you want to see for the title that you have for that book?
Well, I do a lot of image mining, for lack of a better term.
Uh huh.
To post stuff on Facebook and stuff like that. And sometimes an image will give me an idea, and from that idea, I'll just kind of expand on it. Well, this would be cool if this happened. Like if you look at all of the books from the second chapter,
Mm-hmm.
the zombie goes from being mostly underwater until the full metal zombie where it's
Yeah.
finally crawling up on shore.
Okay. So explain
But
that
no,
one.
no, those were from a different guy, from a
I
guy in Ireland, I believe, who runs a website called Rockin' Book Covers. And he did what he had a bunch of pre-made covers, which that was, and I just kind of the first one, which was "You're Never Ready for a Zombie Apocalypse."
Okay. Let's show the back too while we at it, because
You know,
that is freaking badass.
yeah, exactly. Um, so the first one, uh, the guy was in a helmet and he had a gas mask on, and it just looked cool. So I went with that one, and having gone with that one, I just kept going with the gas mask motif. Because you got to think, you go into someplace like Honolulu.
Yeah, fucking paradise.
Well, yeah, paradise after the
All
fall of
hell's broken
humanity.
loose. Yeah.
Yeah, just imagine the stench
Yeah.
of Honolulu, all those dead bodies,
Blow flies as
all
far as
that.
the eye can
Oh
see.
God, just imagine the stench. You couldn't go outside in that shit without a
Even a
gas mask.
bandana around your nose is not gonna
It
help
wouldn't
you
be
with
anywhere
that.
near enough. So I just went with gas mask.
Because I mean, to me, this is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
This right here, look, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't started getting Jeff Thompson's books, you need to stop bullshitting around and get these. Because I mean, that's the perfect size for a beautiful book. Hell, I'll give you all this. I'll cheat you one. Y'all can go back and pause and look at that. There's you a page out of this fucking book. Right here is awesome in my hand. And I got more of them's over here. Let's hell while we're at it, hang on. Let's go with this one. Because we're gonna stick with the gas. Oh shit! I turned the camera. Let's go with the gas mask theme still, but now we're in green. So what's with
Yeah,
that
that
guy on the bike?
that guy is actually a friend of mine.
Really?
Yeah, that's
Ah,
there's a
put him
character in
back
the
up there.
book called Gus. That's the original Gus, and
Hell yeah!
he had sent me this picture of him on the motorcycle that a friend of his had put a bunch of zombies behind it, and I just thought that was such a cool idea that there is an actual chapter in that book that has him being chased by zombies on his
Well,
motorcycle.
random pull again. I'm gonna go ahead and start y'all with oops, if I can get the camera to go the right way. If y'all
Yep.
want to pause it and steal it, up, if I can get it right. There it is. You can get a little bit of something to steal right there. But make no mistake that this gentleman that I am getting to hang out with here today, which I am totally wrecking my bookshelf for, but that's okay because that's my guy, Jeff. Um, there is some great stuff in there. And Jeff, are you planning on any like completely out of your universe stuff, like typical drama or maybe even romance?
Well, there.
Hey, he's laughing. I'm
I
sensing
put
romance. I'm smelling romance right now.
I tend to put a little bit of romance into the books simply because the circumstances of these stories are so dire that the people in them have got to have something to hope for.
Yeah.
You know, that you can't just live your life fighting and dying. You've got to have something more to hope for. Now, there's religion. You can do that, or you can do romance. You can, I mean, it's not one of the worst things in, you know, particularly TV is they'll do this sexual chemistry stuff, and you know, automatically there's a male and female characters automatically sexual
Got to
chemistry,
get them together.
right? And as soon as they get them together, it just everything turns to shit.
Yep.
You look at moonlighting.
Yeah, and
or
oh yeah, Bruce Willis. And are you kidding me? Shit,
yeah, Castle.
never watched
Castle
that
with
one.
Nathan Fillion and Stella Caddick. Good show for about the first 6 seasons until they finally got together, and it just kind of yeah, yeah. And it's every time you do that, it becomes that becomes the story. Their relationship becomes the story. I didn't do that. There are there is romance in these stories, but once it's consummated, it's like okay, that's enough about that.
Yep, move on.
We know they're together. Move on. The central problem still exists.
So now, have you read any situations where you've created a romance and then had to kill off one of the two parts of said romance?
Not yet.
Ah, you said yet, you didn't
Not
say
yet.
no. Okay, so fans
Yeah.
of the Jeff Thompson series, brace yourself because apparently something's about to fucking happen at some point.
Yeah.
Just be ready for it.
Well, I mean, you got to kill some people off. You got.
You have to keep the story going. And I've learned that as just a fan. I'm not a writer, so I don't go through what you guys go through. I don't experience what you guys experience. I literally just experience the fan side of it, where I'm consuming the content and dealing with the emotions of what you
Mhm.
guys have written, where you guys are just writing it, and it has to have a completely different feel to it. So, how often do you actually ever think about how the fans are going to react versus I'm just writing what I know?
I don't. I write for me. I
That's the
write.
right
I write.
answer, by the
I
way.
write to entertain me. And well, perfect example in having spent so much time researching the Second World War, which has
Hmm.
absolutely nothing to do with the Coast Guard fighting zombies in Hawaii.
Right.
Right. I had to get my mindset back into zombies. So I started listening to the audiobooks because I have all my audiobooks. And there were times listening to these audiobooks that I laughed out loud, and I wrote that shit. So I mean, it's
That's
still
I mean
becoming
that's got to
interesting.
be a good feeling though when you know you wrote something that can make you laugh. Like when I do these shows, I swear to you right now, at the end of this thing, I can go back and watch this one-on-one hangout with
Mhm.
one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, and I'm gonna cringe as I watch it, thinking, "Oh, you dumbass! Why didn't you say this? Oh, why didn't you say that? Why? Oh, why did you say that in the first place?" And I go through that. So to know that you can actually go back and listen to your own work and actually laugh at stuff, man, that's got to be awesome.
Well, there are still cringe moments. Um, editing, you're never finished editing. There's an old saw about movies, making movies are never finished. They're abandoned.
Yep.
You get it as close to the release date as you possibly can,
And
and then
then
it's done. Yeah, and then it's done. Um, so listening, you're always going to find errors. You're always going to find things that you thought you could have done better. Um, I'm going to take a whack at some of that once I'm finished with this last book, and then I do the prequel because I'm going to set up for a box set. But before I do the box set, I'm going to go through from beginning to end and clear out some of the more glaring errors.
but kind of doing the omnibus type thing.
Kinda,
You know, you clam it together, and say,
kinda,
"Hey, look, here I got this for you.
yeah.
Enjoy." But now, have you found yourself listening back on stuff where you found yourself laughing and you put it out there, and the people react the same way as you, and you feel vindicated? Like, yes, I fucking nailed that.
Um, I don't, I don't put much stock in that. I don't pay much
Okay.
attention to that because the worst thing I could possibly do is start believing my own press.
True. But now, when the fans are the ones saying, dude, you nailed this. Yeah, you're the man. Oh, you're fucking awesome. I want to kiss you. Do you feel at
Well,
least a little bit vindicated then?
in the first place, the fact I have fans at all freaks me the fuck out.
Well, you're being interviewed by one of them, so be freaked out, fucker.
um, and I've had some really good reviews that just my whole day is made because of that one review. I walk around all day and I'm like,
Hell yeah. And you should, man, because I mean, the indie author has become my favorite thing in the entire world, which is why I like the wall that lives behind me back here, which has now spread out into wings going around me. Um, there are no major time. There's no King. There's no Kuntz. There's none of them up there. These are all indies,
mm-hmm,
and you guys are some of the most brilliant people I've ever read and or listened to. Y'all have come up with some of the most entertaining stories. You don't try to get too complicated. You keep things flowing. You keep
mm-hmm,
things lively. You keep everything just let's go, let's go, let's
mm-hmm,
do it. Oh, stop for a minute. We need to explain this character. Done. Go. And
mm-hmm,
everything keeps flowing where you get like a Stephen King that spends, and yes, Stephen King, I'm sorry if I offended you, but I got to be real because I'm honest to a fault.
mm-hmm.
But you spend 2 or 3 pages explaining why a guy picked a wristwatch up off of a fucking counter. I don't need all of that.
Yeah,
Just
he
get
tends to
me
go
to the
on.
next thing. And it happens with a lot of the big time writers. They get
Mm-hmm,
so self involved that they feel like they got to explain all this extra shit to us. Trust me, an average reader, your regular reader, the
mm-hmm,
majority of your population, we don't want all that. Get us to the next part of the plot. And
yeah.
you, along with help, just throwing names out because they're up on the
Mm-hmm,
damn wall. J.S. Patrick, Richard Ryan Rose, um, fucking Alan Gamboa, Ben
mm-hmm.
Black. I mean, y'all get to the point, and we keep rolling, and that's what makes a great story for me.
Well, probably the best piece of advice I ever got, professional advice I ever got, came from an agent I met years ago. This was years before I published on Amazon.
Hmm.
I was still trying to go through the traditional publishing nightmare.
Yeah, and that's what I've been
Um,
told. It's a
oh my
nightmare.
God, it's a soul sucking, just fuck those people. But, um,
Fuck 'em.
well, I mean, you've got agents who don't even bother replying to you. It's like, and if they do reply to you, they act as if they're doing you a favor. Fact of the matter is, if it ain't for us, they don't exist. They don't have a purpose. They work for us, but they don't treat you like that. So fuck those people.
Yeah, fuck them.
Right, right. But where was I going before that?
We were talking about how they were screwing around with
Yeah,
independents aren't as good as
yeah.
the traditional authors.
Well, that's changing. They
Damn right
haven't
it
they
is.
haven't admitted it yet, but it's changing.
Dude, that's the flag I bear. And in fact, I need to
And
get a
you do it
flag
well,
made
sir.
that I can carry because I mean, I have fallen in love with so many of you guys to the point where I don't care that Stephen King has a new book out. I don't care that Kuntz, who was my original love, by the way, I'll
Mm,
put that out there and say it in front of everybody. Kuntz was my original love. Peter Benchley, I'm a Jaws fanatic,
mm.
but I have found more
He's
love.
got some books that are better than Jaws, I think.
Oh, he does.
Yeah,
But
there was one called I forget the actual name of it, but it takes place in the Sea of Cortez, which is that strip of water in between the Mexican mainland
yeah,
and the peninsula there.
Well, it's like we learned about him. He actually had regrets after writing Jaws when he got to talking to conservationists and whatnot. They were like, "Man, don't get our sharks killed," because he didn't realize he was creating such a hate towards the shark. And it's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I was just trying to write this book."
Mm-hmm.
But even that, I push all the big ones aside because this wall is nothing but indie, and you guys are just as damn good as them. I'm sorry, I'm saying it.
Well,
I put it out there.
the advice that I got was that you should write your stories as if you're watching it in a movie.
I can agree with that
Um,
because, like I tell artists a lot of the time, or the writers a lot of the time, if I'm
mhm,
reading one and I'm communicating with them at the same time I'm reading it, I'll tell them straight up: the action movie has started in my head.
mhm,
Like I'm seeing it. It's playing out. Now, granted, it's my version of it.
mhm,
Joe Blow's version of what they see might be different than mine, but they're still going to be similar. And so, yeah, that's what gets me. Can
mhm,
I see it in my head? If I can see it in my head, I'm golden. And I got a wall full of
mhm.
see it in my head.
And you got to keep it going. You have to
Yep.
keep the story going. Now, the difference between a book and a movie is in a book, you get to spend time with the characters, and hopefully, if we've done our job right, you get inside the minds of those characters.
Yep. Get to
Um,
know them on a different level.
yeah, but you can't do too much of that. It's like Tom Clancy is great, but he goes into so much fucking detail. It's like way, way too much information. Way too much. Jules Verne was big on that. I mean, he's written some of the greatest science fiction stories of all time. But if you read like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, he goes on and on and on about the flora and fauna under the water. I don't need that information.
As a reader, I'll tell you right now, as I'm reading a book, I'm following, line by line.
Hmm.
So and so said, this happened, paragraph, so and so said. The moment that a lot of over detail starts happening, I start doing the eyes are going like this.
Hmm.
Like I'm just brushing over it, waiting to find the word that tells me, okay, we're back to the action.
Hmm.
I literally skip those parts as I read. And that if that's not a message to writers, I don't know what is. Like, literally, you have wasted your time telling me
And
all this crap because I'm jumping past it. Like, I just, okay, nothing there.
to
And
to to combat that, because I mean, writing, I mean, you're making this stuff up. It's all coming
mm-hmm,
out of your head.
mm-hmm,
It's you and the laptop, and that's it. And you've got
yep,
to create this world just with letters.
yep. And you got to think you got a target audience. You know
You
who
got
you're
to,
going after.
yeah. But so my chapters are short. I mean, some of my chapters are only a couple pages long. And each chapter is from the point of view of a specific character.
And by the way, your style, it's what I've kind of coined as my own thing. You're more rapid fire.
Mhm.
Where some authors are a little more drug out, some are more plot based, some are more character focused, but then you have rapid fire. Let's go, let's go, let's go,
Mhm.
let's go. And I like that. That's kind of what I'm
Well,
into is rapid fire.
that's writing the story like you're watching a movie.
Yeah,
You watch a
exactly.
movie, and that's what it is. You watch
It's
an
bang,
action
bang,
movie,
bang,
bang, bang,
bang.
bang.
Let's go.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Damn good
That
example.
is about a perfect movie because from the word go, it's nonstop action. I mean,
And like
even
and
the
like
bits in the classroom where Indiana Jones is teaching the class, and
uh,
that shit, yeah, closes her eyes, love you.
yep.
That's right there. That detail right there.
But the story is there, and just like when he has the meeting his girl, and they're just drinking together, and and you already see her, and she's done drunk the guy under the table.
Hmm.
but it's a small segment of the story, but it
Yeah,
tells everything about how badass she is.
yeah, yeah. And that's the way I construct my chapters. Is that, well, one, I try to make every paragraph flow into the next one, every chapter flow into the next one.
So
um,
no cliffhangers.
well, there's I leave a couple of cliffhangers in there,
Okay, okay. Wait, I
but
said a
but
couple's cool.
I mean it's just like watching a movie when you're bouncing from one character to another.
Yep.
It's like you get a big action scene going on,
Well, I guess what I
and
meant by that was by ending a book on a cliffhanger. Like literally, you're going to be stuck right here until the next book comes out. You don't really do that. You kind of keep a flow there, like you said,
mm,
to where even though you're waiting for the connection point, let me get my hand up. You're waiting for the connection point, but it's not necessarily a full on like, oh shit, kind of a cliffhanger. Like a more like, okay, I need to get my train hooked to the next one
mm.
because I gotta keep going. We're not
Well,
done
yeah,
yet.
I mean, I try and find a good place to end each book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was real easy with the boot camp stuff because what I did was I took the 10 weeks of boot camp and I split it into each book. It's 2 weeks, so it's 5 books in this
And
chapter.
and there it is.
There it is. The story begins and ends with boot camp. At the end of this chapter is going to be the end of boot camp. I mean, nothing really spectacular happened, but it's the end of boot camp, so it's now time for something else.
All right. Well, I think we have officially hit. Was it about an hour mark now? Where the hell we at?
I don't know. I
Oh,
forgot
hour and
the last
20.
time.
Hell, hour 20. Shit, we've been hanging out for almost an hour and a
Mhm.
half. You crazy
Yeah.
son of a bitch. We got to save some more for people when we do this shit again, because
Yep.
I think we are considering working on a monthly thing here.
Yeah, we're toying with some ideas.
Yeah.
I'm even thinking about bringing back the haunted library,
Ooh, I'd be down for that.
and I'd be happy if you joined us.
I would definitely join you.
Yeah, but again, it's right now. It's just I'm putting feelers out there.
All right. Well, I like to end my shows the same way every single time, so I ain't going to do any different today. My friend, my guy, my love, Jeff Thompson. Where the hell can everybody find you?
Well, Amazon, of course, and make sure you it's Jeff Thomson. There's no P in my last name,
No, there is
so
not. I always
make
look
sure
at
you
the
spell
book
it
to
right.
make sure I type it when I
Make
look.
sure you spell it right. So you can find me there. You can find me all over Facebook,
Yes, you
primarily
can,
in Asylum of Fear, uh, Written
which is a
Apocalypse,
great place to snuggle down and hide. I'm just telling you.
a couple of other groups like Coffee
See
and
what's rabbit,
Rabbit Holes,
rabbit? Yep. We
Coffee
got
and
the
Rabbit
rabbit hole.
Holes.
Yep.
Um, and then I'm on Twitter, which is JS
Tweet, tweet.
Thompson 2021. So
So you guys go find this man. Trust me, these books, the ones I held in my hand, they are delicious. And I physically actually didn't eat any of them, but they are delicious. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and we are in the Asylum Affair. I am Jack Childress. That is Jeff Thompson. And we have just told you guys about awesomeness. It's up to you now. Go get it. Peace out.
thank you, sir. Take it easy, everybody. Thanks for joining us.